Hello, everybody. How are you today? It's Dana Sullivan, the Stampin' Chick, here for another Think Tank Thursday. How are you today, my friends? I hope you're all having a fabulous Thursday afternoon. Here we are already, third week of May. Can you believe it? It was wintertime, and then we had like 2 minutes of spring, and holy cow, it's almost summer already. Where is the time going? I have no idea. I have no idea. So this last weekend actually, I was at a crop and retreat. Not really a retreat. Well, a scrapbook crop. Um, and I had so much fun with my friend Amy. And I haven't been to a crop in, oh gosh, I don't even know how many years, but it was so much fun. And, the wonderful thing about a crop, if you've never been to one before, is that in theory, you take the supplies that you want to work with and you have unlimited amount of focused time to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do in those couple of days. Unfortunately for me, I tend to visit the squirrels really often, especially when there are really cool things to see and check out. And so I didn't get as much done as I thought I might, but I had a lot of fun meeting new friends and seeing all kinds of really cool projects that folks were working on. I got some really nice inspiration, and it was a wonderful weekend. The theme was Alice in Wonderland, and oh my gosh, y'all know me. Alice in Wonderland is like my Dr. Pepper of the crafting theme. I love Alice in Wonderland. It is my favorite thing ever. So Alice Bon Jovi. I gotta be set for life. Anyway, so it was a great weekend. It was a lot of fun, and I did get some things done, but I had intended on actually getting some retreat prep done. And as I'm planning another retreat coming up before long, but I actually didn't get a whole lot of that done. I did get some planning of it done, but I don't have it all done just yet. So for those who are local to me, put a pin in it for July 26th. That's a Saturday. I am awaiting confirmation on that date exactly, but I'm hopeful for that date. But the event will be a luau themed all day crop and craft. So it will be a fun day with all kinds of cool games and inspiration. And we're going to be using the Happy Hibiscus bundle to go along with the luau theme. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an all day event. So you'll be able to bring whatever you want to work on. And we will also be doing a Stampin' Bingo that day. So I'm working out the details on how to tie it all in together, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So stay tuned for more information about that. Okay. All right, guys. Today I wanted to share with you something that you may or may not have noticed in the new annual catalog. When I noticed it at On Stage in Raleigh, I was a little surprised at first because, wow, that is really big. And then once I discovered everything that comes along with it, I realized why it was the way it was. So Of course, I'm talking about our washi tape that's in the annual catalog. It's on page 84 of the annual catalog, and it's Extraordinary Floral, and I think that's the name, yes, of the washi as well. Extraordinary Floral Washi Tape. And this washi tape is really special, and I've never seen anything like it before, so it's really cool. Yes, I mean washi. We've all seen washi tape. Washi tape is washi tape. There's nothing extraordinary about that per se, but what is extraordinary is that this washi tape has dies, or rather, one single die that cuts out all of the flowers in the section. So I'm going to open it up just a little bit here. And here is the repeat. Okay, so what does a repeat mean? Well, if you look here, you'll notice that this row of flowers is exactly the same as this one, plus or minus some coloration difference. There are some different colors on here, but this is the repeat. And so you can see there's an awful lot of flowers and greenery and things like that on there, and they're just absolutely beautiful. And what's really cool about this is that we have a die, as I mentioned, that coordinates with it. And so this die literally cuts out the entire repeat section. So I'm going to show you how to go about doing that. Of course, there are probably a dozen or more ways to go about it. The way that I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to turn it into die cuts. That's not necessarily sticky. So washi tape is really thin, and it doesn't really hold up super well as far as like structure goes. It's meant to be stuck to something. And because of that, we're going to stick it to some cardstock first, and then we're going to run it through the die cut machine. So you will see that we're going to turn it into some really cute little die cuts. And then from there, we're going to use it to make a fun project. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. But before I do, let me just discuss with you guys, if you have never been to a Think Tank Thursday before, let me tell you just a little bit about how it works. Think Tank Thursday is a little different than most of the Facebook or YouTube lives you may be familiar with. This isn't just a tutorial video. This is a fully interactive, hang out with me, craft along with me, and help me make a project. Okay, so throughout the course of our evening, I will ask you some this or that type of questions, and I'll be looking for some responses in the comment section. Okay, so for example, one question may be, would you prefer that we do a landscape or a portrait layout of card? And then you'll be able to type that in the chat section, and whoever or the majority of the votes is the winner. Okay, so you guys are going to be able to help me design our project this evening, and I'm really looking forward to it. So with that in mind, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to go ahead and shoot a comment in the chat section. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. Okay, all right, here we go. Okay. Oh, that worked out well. All right, there we go. So, as I mentioned, we are using the Extraordinary Flora. And now that the catalog is live, I can actually show you the inside of the catalog as well. So on page 84, you will see, well, 85, actually, you will see the washi tape and the die. And here is the cutouts that the die makes. And then on top of that, we also have a stamp set that has a coordinating stamp. So this is all one stamp, which makes it super easy for you to stamp the images and then be able to die cut them all in one shot. Do you have any idea how simple this is going to make multi-floral cards? Oh my gosh, it's going to be incredible. And I'm going to show you this evening, okay? We're not going to get super crazy with it, or at least I'm going to try not to, but I do want to show you the die cutting the washi tape, and I also want to show you the stamped image there as well. All right. So let's go ahead and start playing, shall we? But you may want to go ahead and bookmark page 84 and 85 because you're really going to love this one. All right, let me set this off to the side. Okay, the washi, as I mentioned a moment ago with that repeat, so you can see there, I've got it all laid out. Let me see if I can bring just a little bit farther. There we go. Okay, and the die cuts all of those images out of that repeat section. So you can see there exactly what I mean. Okay, now, how are we going to get this to cut this out? It's sticky, so on and so on. Obviously, you can imagine we're going to put some paper behind it. Another thing that you could do is put it on window sheet if you wanted a more sheer look to it. So we can try that out as well and see how that looks. And, why don't we go ahead and do that? Let me just see if I've got a piece of window sheet here handy. Okay, I might, and it may even be just the right size. Lucky me. You know, that literally never happens unless you pre-plan it. Look at that. Not too shabby. It may be slightly off, but we'll see how this goes, okay? All right. Now, obviously, the first thing I want to do here is I want to bring my washi tape over. And I'm going to turn my window sheet just because that right-handed girl, okay, and I want to line this up. I'm going to line it up with this row of flowers right near the edge. Not too close because, I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that we have plenty of window sheet. Come on now. Plenty of window sheet available on the edges for the die to go through nice and easy. Okay, we want to make sure we don't have any bubbles or wrinkles or anything like that. Okay, so we'll give it a nice little press. And then I'm going to bring my bone folder in just to make sure, and you can even see it's really neat. Like the whiter section here, it's white, kind of white background, and then this is clear. But when I burnish it down, you can see that the white-ish part kind of goes away. Of course, it's lifting a little bit right there, so we'll just tear it down. And let's see here. Let me grab my snips and snip it off. I thought I might be able to just tear it. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I'm just going to cut it off. Okay, there we go. And then, of course, I want to cut this side. Okay. And I'm going to save that little scrap, mostly because, I've got a little flower here I could use, but I can use this washi to hold dies down on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, right? So don't throw those little scraps away. They're handy. Okay, now that I don't have anything pulling on it, I can go ahead and give it a really good burnish. And as you can see, it's getting clearer and clearer behind the flowers, and that's because I'm able to give it a really good burnish. All right, there we go. All right, now then, I'm going to take that die and line it up, and you know what? We happen to have some washi tape here that we can use to hold it together. And I'm just going to put that little strip right there. And here we go. All right, so line this up good as we can get it. That looks pretty darn good. Okay, so I'll do that there. And then maybe this one here. Okay, let's see if we can pick that up without losing it. All right. Now, with the window sheet, we're going to be able to use just the same standard sandwich. So you're using that thicker platform, the thin die plate, and your 2 clear plates, along with your die and your window sheet. Okay. So let me run it through, and you can hear the crackle, crackle. I love that sound. It always terrifies people when they hear that being cut through window sheet, but I promise it's all good. Now I'm bringing it back through a second time, and as you could tell, there was no crinkle and crackle that time because the window sheet had already been cut through. But just to double check and make sure it was cut all the way on all the lines. And now we have some really cool little elements. Now this one and this one up here, my window sheet was just a little short, like I mentioned, but that's okay. We don't mind at all. So I'm going to put these little pieces of washi up on my die cut machine so that I can use them again in a bit. But look at that. You've got some really cool semi-sheer little elements here that are fantastic, and they look really neat. Okay. And we'll just pop all of those out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Now there are enough pieces here. I mean, there's a lot, right? You could do a really nice floral cluster on a project and only have to do one die cut, which is just amazing. Isn't that amazing? I think it is. Okay, so there's that. And guess what? This thing is sturdy enough that I could use it for a stencil. So that's a really cool idea. Cut it just a little bit bigger all the way around and use it for a stencil. That would be amazing. Hey, Naomi, how's it going, darling? All right, so we have these here. I'm going to set those just up here out of the way for a little bit. Let me scooch. Okay, what really works is that. And even then it says, no, Paha, you said it works and we're going to prove you wrong. Okay. All right, now I've shown you what it looks like to do it on window sheet. Okay, so now let's take a little bit of our white cardstock, so just regular basic white cardstock, and then some more of that washi. And let's see here, that's not going to be big enough either, so I'm going to go this way. Oh, you're working? Ew. Well, that's no fun. All right. Just like I did with the window sheet, I'm going to put the washi on. And because it's cardstock and it's a little less forgiving than the window sheet as far as putting the tape down, I'm not going to worry about getting right on the edge, but I will get pretty close. I do want to kind of make sure it's straight though, because otherwise, you know, it's going to get all wonky, and, you know, it really doesn't matter if you're making it from a scrap, but y'all know me, I cannot just throw things away like all random and loosey-goosey. So here we go. Now you can see that I have got my paper all lined up nice. I don't necessarily need more than just the one repeat. So I will crop this off. There we go. Okay, and give it a nice burnish. Right away, you can see the difference with the die cut and with the paper. All right, let me trim my paper just a little bit because otherwise, it's going to take up more space than I want it to. So let me just take that off. I don't really need to worry about that part so much. I just needed that one. It was a little too wide for my machine. And then we'll line our die up again, just like we did a moment ago. Okay, I think that's pretty good there. Let me grab my washi tape. Oh, you're getting ready to get home soon? Oh, that's good. All right, there we go. Okay, and through the machine again. This time you won't hear that crinkle and cracking so much because it's cardstock and not plastic. You see, there's no crinkle and crackle there. You'll hear the little click from the die. And then back again. And that's it. All right. Okay, now let me see here. There's that one. So right away you can see a difference in the die cut. It's got a bit more detailed depth to it. It's not transparent anymore. It's a solid die cut. So now this is more like if you had stamped and die cut cardstock, right? But the difference is that you've got all of this beautiful printed color that we didn't have to worry about because the washi tape already had it all, right? Okay, so you can see there, here's the difference between the window sheet and the white cardstock backing on that. And let's see here. Here's the floral image. Now, this flower actually is more of a purple and this one's more of a pink. That's because of the colors on the washi, not just because of the two different papers. But you can still see how this one is more bold and, of course, solid, and this one has just a bit of transparency to it. So that's really cool. I like that a whole lot. Okay, and then one more thing I want to do with this before we get into what our project is going to be. I want to show you the stamp set, and we're going to stamp the flowers and die cut those. Okay, so now I'm going to take the stamp off. And you're going to need that great big, I believe it's the F size of acrylic block, because the E size is just a little bit too small. So we need this great big bugger. Okay, so right there. All right. Now, I can tell you that when I'm using a great big stamp like this, I generally prefer to ink it upside down and then stamp it because it's just easier. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take my Memento ink And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap all over this stamp. Okay, tap, 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 not smush, smush, smush. Okay, make sure it's good. And then because this is a photopolymer stamp, and especially because it is a great big one, we want to bring out our Pierce mat. Okay, and so I'm going to turn this over, and without dropping it, hopefully, I'm going to stamp it down on the paper. Okay, give it a nice burnish. All right, and then lift it straight off. And now we have some outlines of the same image. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and die cut these out now. And we will be able to have a variety of different flowers to look at, to see how much different they are, and to go from there. Okay, so let me line this up. And I can tell you the black and white is just a little bit more challenging. Okay. You wouldn't think so. You would think that it would be easier, but it doesn't appear to be. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on the die machine and we'll run it through right quick. All right. And that one dropped almost all of them right off the bat. There we go. Come on. There we go. Come on. All right. There's that one. And the last one. Okay. Let me see if I can make this thing focus a little bit here. All right. So we've got that one there. And there's the cardstock with the tape. And then there's the window sheet. All right, so there we go. Okay, now you've got the cardstock that's been stamped. It's ready to be colored. And then we have the cardstock with the washi over it. And then we have the window sheet with the washi over it. So that gives you a good idea kind of how everything will look in whichever manner you choose to use the dies. I think they're all absolutely fabulous. Of course, from here, you could do Stampin' Blends, or you could stamp it in StazOn, and you could use watercolor, which would be really nice. That would be lots of fun, especially since the washi images are pretty well watercolored that way. So this is a way that you can get kind of a similar look once your washi runs out. But that being said, there's an awful lot of washi on here, and I definitely recommend maybe getting more than one roll. I think you're going to have a great time playing with it. Okay, so now that we have all of these little bits, Dana, what on earth are we going to do with all of these flowers? Okay, well, I'm glad you asked. We're actually not going to do anything with just the white cardstock flowers. I'm going to use those later. I'm going to color them and use them for something else. So I'm not going to waste our time making you watch me color this evening. But I am going to use these items here. So I think we might do a little mishmash. I don't know. That's up to you. So to get a better look at the stamp set, you can see we've got the full floral image right here. And this one's a really cute stamp set with the sentiments. The sentiments themselves are a really nice font, but this is more of a celebratory sentiments at the very least. Of course, the flowers can be used for literally anything. So we have for the extraordinary couple, congratulations and with love. Okay. And then we have this little detailed spot here that we can use. I also brought over the stripes and dots stamp set. I haven't used this one yet. This one's brand new. In fact, you can see I haven't even put the labels on it yet. But what's really cool about this one is that some folks see this and they're like, oh, that's just one stamp and it's all these cool designs, which is great. But it's actually all 4 different stamps. So you can get a lot of really cool backgrounds and things like that with this. And I think that we may, well, I'm not sure if we'll use it or not. It's going to be entirely up to you. Okay. All right. So first things first, I need to know if we are going to do a landscape card or if we are going to do a portrait card. So the question is, are we doing it portrait style or landscape? So this is portrait and this is landscape. What do you think? I'll give you just a minute to decide there. And while you're deciding, I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of inks and a couple of other options for us, okay? So here we go, portrait or landscape. Let me see, what colors do I want? Okay. I think I want a pretty peacock and maybe fresh freesia. Okay. And how about Granny Apple Green? Yes. And is that Pretty in Pink or Flirty Flamingo? I think it's Flirty Flamingo. All right. So here's the colors that we've got. Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the landscape this time. And let's see. Perhaps we want to do maybe some designer series paper, or let's see, what do I have here? That's Lost Lagoon, but Lost Lagoon always looks really nice with Pretty Peacock, which would also look really nice with these, I think. Yeah. Okay. And we've got fresh freesia. Let's see here. And there's that one. Let me see if I can find the other pattern. There we go. All right, so there's the two patterns for those. And let's see, brights, we should have our Flirty Flamingo and Granny Apple in here. All right, so there's Granny Apple and Granny Apple and Flirty Flamingo. I love that color. It's so pretty. And Flirty Flamingo. There we go. Okay. So now we have an assortment of things that we can use here. I'm wondering if we might be able to do a little trim piece, maybe. And maybe, let's see here. Okay. So, are we going to use Pretty Peacock or Granny Apple Green for a little strip along the base of our card? So this is going to be a little pop of color, a little bit of accent on our card. Are we going to do Granny Apple Green, or are we going to do Pretty Peacock? And here's our flowers in case you need to know that. Okay. So are we going to do Granny Apple, or are we going to do Pretty Peacock? Both are really pretty. I don't think that we can go wrong with either one of them. They're both really nice. I think that the, and this is actually Lost Lagoon. It's not Pretty Peacock. But I think that the Lost Lagoon is a really nice, subtle look. But the Granny Apple is a bold and brighter look. So are we doing the Lost Lagoon, or are we doing Granny Apple Green for our accent piece here? And then let me grab, what can I grab? Let's see. Not that. Okay, I think the Spotlight on Nature dies is what we're going to want to use. That'll be so much fun. Okay, I think that we should use Lost Lagoon. So, do I want to use the stripes or the splotches? That's the next question. I think maybe the stripes. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry about measuring this out. I am just going to tear it. Okay. Now I want to tear it towards me so that I get a little bit of a white edge on the edge of my paper. Okay. Just like that. You can see there's a little white edge right there. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to tear a little bit, and this one's going to be a really fine edge because I don't like to waste much of my paper. So I don't want to tear off any more than I absolutely have to. Okay, there we go. So we're just tearing this little bit, just enough to give it the torn and worn look. Okay. And then I feel like this little spot right here needs to come off just a bit. There we go. Oops, sorry, that was my plate. It wasn't attached to the machine. There we go. All right, there we go. Looks better. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to put this piece on here, and of course I'll snip it down. And then I think what I want to do is grab one of these dies to use here as a pop-up area, and let's see how that'll work. Okay. And I think, let's see here. Do we have a ribbon that may look nice? I just got a little bundle of ribbons, and this is absolutely gorgeous ribbon, but it's Misty Moonlight, I believe. Yes, and it doesn't really match what we're doing here, but I do love this ribbon. Okay, you know, the strawberry slush would look nice, but this one would also. This is the hold on, don't tell me I'm not looking. Secret Sea. There we go. Right? Yes, Secret Sea. I'm trying to get them memorized, friends. Okay, so I think that the Secret Sea, you know, even the cloud cover would look nice. All right, I'm not sure. Let's set these aside here and see what we've got. Okay, now grab my snips and cut that plastic off so that way we can see them. I'm really excited about these ribbons. They look like they're really nice. Of course, most all of Stampin' Up's ribbons usually are. Okay. Oh, that is nice. That is really soft. It's called faux linen, so it should tie up really nicely. Okay. And it looks like it does. Oh, how pretty is that? How pretty. Okay, so there's Secret Sea. We'll get this right. And then here is cloud cover. Now, if you have been on my website and you've been looking for all of the brand new colors, you've probably noticed that the cloud cover ink pad does not exist. And I am very sad to say that it's not going to be. There was a problem with production on it. The ink formula was, I guess, interacting with the chemical in the foam pads. I'm not really sure all of that techie or scientific information, rather. But the ink spots and the reinkers work really, really well together. So I've got an ink spot here that has already been inked up with the cloud cover ink. And our ink spots are the old felt style, which I actually prefer. But, you know, It is what it is. So the little ink spots have the felt, and that doesn't seem to interact with the reinkers. So if you would like to get that fifth color, the way to do that is to get get a package of the reinkers or the little ink spots, and then get a reinker and ink it up. I know that's kind of a headache and it's a little bit of a hassle, but reach out to me and I can help you with that if you need it. Okay. All right. So we have these two colors that are not the same as Lost Lagoon, but both of them look really nice with it. So I'm going to set them off to the side for just a moment. And then we want to decide, let's see here. I'm going to trim that first off. So that way I can get it out of the way and can get a better view. There we go. And then we need to decide which size of the Spotlight on Nature dies that we're going to use. And I think I'd really like to maybe use that one or this one, maybe that one. Okay, so this one's a little bit smaller, but it has a nice uniform edge to it. And then this one is a little bit too big, so we don't like that one. Never mind. And I don't really want the one here. This one's about the same size, but I really like that other one with the kind of floral trim. Okay, we're going to do this one here. So let me grab my cardstock that I just had, and I'm going to cut this out for us. Okay. All right, I almost tossed the die cut away. That's not what I need to do. Okay, now then, we have our little die cut piece here. So this is the foundation of our card. And I'm going to put this piece on dimensionals eventually, but I need to figure out if I'm going to put the ribbon around, which I think I will. And I think it's going to be Secret C because I think it's going to look better with that little bit of darker layer there, I think. But we shall see. Okay, so I'm just going to put that right there for just a minute, and let me put the cloud cover away. All right, and now we want to kind of load up our flowers here. And let me grab the sentiment. Okay. I think I want to do with love because I'm not really needing a celebration type card just now, but I can always use a friendly with love card. So we're going to do that. And I think I'll put that right there. And I may even take this little line stamp and stamp it underneath that. I'm not really sure yet, but let's see. Okay, so I need I need this. Okay. And then let me grab this block for my little edge there. Okay. There we go. Excuse me, my goodness. Okay, now then, I I think that we could do with love in Pretty Peacock ink. Okay, and I'm just going to put it kind of right there at the edge. All right, and then let's do either Flirty Flamingo or Fresh Freesia for the little lines right there. So do you think we should do Flirty Flamingo, or do you think we should do Fresh Freesia for the little lines under our sentiment? Comment in the messages and let me know, okay? And while you guys are deciding that, I'm going to start working on the arrangement of our little flowers here, okay? Let's see. Okay, so are we using the Flirty Flamingo or are we using Fresh Freesia to do our little lines there? What do you think? Let's put this and this. And I want to try to kind of stagger a little bit between the solid images and the sheer ones. So we shall see here. All of it we're going to have to pop up, of course, or glue down. Okay. I think maybe put this one here. I don't really want to cover up that flower, but I think I might. There we go. Then I can always put this one back on and this one on, or maybe, where's that little purple one? He's cute. Okay, something. We need to bring it around just a bit. Yes, we do. If you're not talking to yourself while you're crafting, are you actually getting good advice? I'm just saying. There we go. Something to that effect. Okay, so if this is going to be the front, and I like to hope it is, then I think I would like to use the Fresh Freesia. So let me just scoot this off to the side for a moment, and we'll use the Fresh Freesia to put our little lines on. I want to get it pretty close. There we go. Okay. And then maybe even there. All right. That white is giving my camera fits, but there you go. Okay, now then, this flower is for sure going to be put on dimensionals. And it's entirely possible that that will be the only one put on dimensionals. I'm not sure yet, but I really like that. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. And then these guys are going to come down here. I'm just kind of setting them off to the side here so that they We know how they're going to go. Hey, Melissa, how are you, darling? Just in time to see if I make a mess or not. I'm using the Extraordinary Flowers stamp and die bundle and the fabulous new washi tape. And this one, I have done the washi over the top of a window sheet, and it's made a really nice semi-transparent little image here. And then the others I have done on white cardstock. So I layered the washi on white cardstock and then die cut it. And it's really interesting that it's making some really cool, it looks really neat with the different things on there. So now I'm going to put this piece right here. And yeah, I hate to cover up that flower, but it is what it is. It's going the wrong direction, and there is only one of them. So, we're just going to have to deal with it. So it'll just be a nice little in the background kind of thing. And I'm mix and matching, as I mentioned, some of the clear-ish, semi-transparent with some of the more solid images there. That way you get a nice little assortment. So you can see there already, we've got some semi-transparents here, and then we've got the white backed right there. Okay, and then can I pop this guy up and this guy? I'm not sure. In fact, now that I've got it on there, I'm not even sure if I want to use it, because if I do that, then I can still sort of see that pink one. So, okay, guys, it's time to decide. Do we leave this one like that? Let me get some, there we go. Or do we put this piece on too? I just feel like it's a little bit much, but it does have some nice layers. So there's that. Okay, I definitely think that I like it better with just the flower on here. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, just like so. That is very, very cute. I like it a lot. All right, now we've got it there. Really neat. And then I definitely think that I want to tie this around. We'll see. I may change my mind here, but let's take a look. I really like a nice little contrasty element to a project when the project is mostly a light colors. I feel like it just kind of helps bring your eyes into focus, so to speak. It brings them right where I want them, which is right here at that little flower circle. So I'm going to see if this Secret C ribbon is going to be the thing I'm looking for. We shall find out here directly. It's always hard to tie ribbon on DSP that you're going to be layering. And normally when I do this, I would tell people to just put the ribbon behind the DSP and then glue it down and then tie it. But since I'm not sure if this is what I want to do, I don't want to make anything permanent just yet. Okay, so let me just put some dimensionals on the back of my label here because I know I want to do that. I have no idea why my throat is being so froggy. I'm assuming that it has everything to do with the pollen that's flying around my yard just now. But, Okay. So I think something like this is what I'm looking at. And hold still now. There we go. And I do actually like that darker ribbon. So what I meant a minute ago is that I like the idea of being able to put some tape down. Okay. And then I'm going to put my ribbon around the paper. Okay. And I think I've given it too much, so let me bring it just a little bit here. All right. Give it a nice little press and then put some tape on that. And then I'm going to tape it down for before I tie it. Okay, I'll make sure I've got my end there. Somewhere in here. Okay. And then when you do it this way, you're giving yourself something solid to tie against. All right, so there's my tip for you. Don't try to tie your ribbon around loosey-goosey floppy DSP because it's not going to play nicely. Okay, so just go ahead and tape it down to the card first and then tie your ribbon around it into a bow. Okay, so there we go. And I knew I had a bit too much there, but that's okay. I've got enough here to make some tails for something else. So I'm not gonna worry about it. And then I'm gonna give it just a little tug right here so that it lays flat. Okay, and there we go. Now, I can fiddle with this as much or as little as I want to, and it's not going to go anywhere. All right. There we go. And then let me snip. Let me go this way. Which way do you guys go? Which way do you make the tails? Do you make the tails point out or do you make them point in? What do you guys do? I do it different ways each different time. Sometimes I do it where they point out, and sometimes I do it where they go the other way. But this time I like it this way. Okay. Now then, I want to put this piece on. Come in now. There we go. And put it right here. Let's see, right here. There we go. That's beautiful. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, of course we're going to need some kind of bling here. I mean, we're not animals. Let's see. I have these, which I don't think go very well, so we're not going to do that. Those are brand new, by the way. That was a sneaky peek. These are brand new. Not really a sneak peek because now you can see in the catalog. But let's see. Ooh, I know. What about some of these? That's beautiful, isn't it? Okay. All right, so I need to know, are we going to do the strawberry slush and pretty in pink gems, or are we going to do the clear rhinestones? Which do you think we should do for the little bling bling on our card? What do you think? While you guys are deciding that, I am going to do a little bit of embellishing on the inside and the envelope, because what do we always say? No naked insides and no naked envelopes. And I've got a really quick and simple way of dressing this up. Okay. So I'm going to leave those sit here for just a moment. Let's see if I can do that without covering them up. Scooch, please. Scooch, please. There we go. Okay. All right, so we have to decide if we're doing clear or if we're doing strawberry for the rhinestones. And then I'm going to take the rest of this piece of DSP, and I'm going to cut a 2 1/4 inch strip off of the first section. Let's set that out of the way. 2 1/4. And then I'm going to do, approximately 1/2 inch. Let me give it a little bit more because I'm going to tear it the other direction. So we're going to want about 1/2 inch, but you remember we took this off of this piece and we tore it one direction to get the white edges showing on here. So if we want the white edges to show on this strip, we're going to have to tear just a little bit off of it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. Come on now. There we go. I really like when I can tear a whole strip rather than little chunks, because I don't actually want it to be chunky. I want it to be torn. So let me, like that. There we go. There. Okay. That's all right. It's being a little contrary with me because it's so small, but that's okay. We got this. All right. Though this kind of reminds me of when you get your hair cut. As I trimmed off one side and it was good, but then as I went a little farther, that side got a little shorter, and now I'm coming back around the other way so that I can shorten the longer edge up again just a little bit so it's not quite so much of a difference. You ladies know exactly what I'm talking about. You start out saying, I'll just take a trim, please. And next thing you know, there's 4 inches of hair on the floor. All right, so here we go with our little strip. And I'm just going to take this and add my tape here. Okay. And I'm going to put it right inside. And because I have it so tiny on this end, and this is still 6 inches long, I'm going to go ahead and line it up with this edge. So that way I get more of the 1/2 inch there. Okay, so I'm going to line it up right at the edge. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Here we go. Look at us go. All right, so now we have that. Let me trim off the edge of this. Okay, very nice. So now we have that nice little inside section that looks like it matches the front, right? And then we're not done here. We're going to take maybe a little image, one of these little die cut pieces, maybe this one, and we'll put it right there, okay? That way we're tying in all of the things from the front of our card. Okay, I'm going to give it a little tape love here. And then we'll put that right there. Okay, isn't that cute? And it matches. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, then I'm taking that 2 1/4 inch strip, And I like to use my liquid glue for this. And I found this kind of funny. At one of my classes recently, I was talking to my girls about covering their envelope flaps. And I pulled the cap off this way, and they went, "Oh, I didn't know it was two-sided." Indeed. This big thing here is not just a base for it to stand up, it's actually a cap for what I always remember the rubber cement having this kind of a stopper on it. But this side will spread a wider amount in thinner layers. Okay, so here's what I do. You give it just a little bit of a squeeze, and let's see if we can show it on the screen here. We may not be able to. I'm trying to hold it upright. Okay, there we go. You can see there's a little bit of glue right there in the tip. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down, and then I'm not going to squeeze anymore, and I'm going to use the edge, the tip, to spread it around. And this is going to give us a really nice thin glaze of glue, because if you put too much, not only is it going to make a mess, but it will also show like bumps in your paper. And you don't want that. You want it to be nice and smooth, and you don't have to be perfect with it, but you do want it to go right close to the edges, so that when you put the paper down, the glue will smish to the edge. Because I'm certain that our postmasters would prefer our cards not stick up in their machines and gum up the works, right? So now what I do is I'm just lining this up right at the edge of the fold. And then I'm going to fold the envelope over just to make sure that my paper is actually up to that edge. And then I'm going to give it a nice, really good burnish, okay? And you can see I have a little bit of glue that came up there. I want to clean this off really nicely because, folks, I'm telling you, if your card gums up the U.S. Postal meter thingy, whatever, you'll probably get a call. So let's not do that. Let's not make their work harder for them. Let's get all the glue off so that they appreciate the pretties and don't dread them coming through. Okay, so I've got my little adhesive eraser here, and it's really cool because as you erase, it brings the adhesive off in little goobers, and they're kind of satisfying to pick off. So we'll do a little bit of that. All right. And then that will give us a nice clean envelope. And then I'm going to flip it over and trim around it. Okay. All right, there we go. And now you have that to match your card. Isn't that cool? Okay, we're not done yet. We want to do something for the front. I generally do something on the back of the flap and then something on the front as well. And so because of that, I really just kind of try to make sure that I always do it. All right, now, this is where just using the washi by itself would be perfectly acceptable because the washi is already adhesive and it is really thin and it would stick beautifully. But I'm not going to fussy cut out any of the images there. I'm just going to take what I have because, as you can see, I have a really nice collection of them. And I'm going to put a bit of glue on my die cut here. Now, again, same with the flap. You want to make sure that you don't have so much that you ooze out everywhere. but you really want those edges to be glued down good because you don't want it to get hung up in the system. Okay. That sounds like a really bad thing, and that's because it is. You don't want it hung up in the system. Okay. All right. And then we'll put this down like that, and I'm going to give it a nice good press. Make sure that it's stuck down all the way. And there we go. Okay. Now, if you want to go even farther, you could take that little line stamp and put it right up here so that your address and everything is above it. Or you can put it right here where the mailing address is, or both, and it would look absolutely fabulous. Of course, if we do it in the Fresh Freesia, it makes sense with the card, may not necessarily make sense with the envelope, but you know what? That's okay. We're going to do this anyway. So we're going to just put that down there. Beautiful. And then I'm going to put this right about here. There we go. And now it's ready. All right. Just like that. And I love it. It's so pretty. Okay, now then, I want to put some bling on here because, you know, it's bling. It doesn't need it though. It doesn't have to have it. This is beautiful all by itself. But let's put a little bling. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we decide that it doesn't need any bling. You'll have to tell me. All right, I think I'm going to try this one because it's new and I like to play with new things. And so let's see how this works. Let's see here. Let me grab. I definitely think I want to use the little bit of darker because, you know, it's pretty. Okay, I'll do that there. Y'all know sometimes I struggle. Sometimes I struggle with the placement of bling. Do you guys struggle with the placement of bling? Like, I'm not one of those people that can just go bloop, 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 bloop. There it is. It's beautiful. No, I sit here and I do this and, you know, it's nuts. Okay. You typically will want to do in multiples of, or odds rather. So multiples of 3, 5, 7, something like that is generally good. I think that right there might be what I'm going to do. Yeah, there we go. I don't know. All right, let's see. Okay, beautiful. All right, there we go. Let me put this away and show you the card and the envelope ready to go. I don't like that there. I don't like it there. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Maybe I don't like these either. Maybe I don't like that either. There we go. That's better. I like that better. You see how it goes. This is my life. All right. So there we go. Absolutely adorable card. I really like this card, actually. I think it's very pretty. And I love how much fun it was to make the floral pieces here. We didn't have to do any floral stamping, didn't have to do any floral coloring, and yet it is absolutely beautiful. All right, guys, there you have it. Let me just turn my camera around right quick. And let's see here. Okay. There we go. All right, friends, that is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the Extraordinary Flora stamp and die bundle and that really cool new washi tape. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So the card has, of course, our thick basic white card base. This is the Secret Sea new faux linen ribbon. It ties beautifully. There's a Lost Lagoon. This is the new 6x6 Designer Series paper assortment pack. And I'm really enjoying the patterns this year. I don't know if you've noticed before, but the patterns change every year. And for each color collection, it's the same patterns, but obviously in those colors. But the patterns are just beautiful. I mean, you've got this nice flower here, which really looks nice. You've got the beautiful splotches there. And then you have leaves and stripes. And it's so pretty. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I hope that you will join me next Thursday for another Think Tank Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I will see you guys again next time, okay? All right, friends, have a wonderful evening. Bye.